The story of our era may be one about loneliness, isolation, and a lack of community. Scientists tell us that social isolation is as bad for you as just as bad as smoking could be, or not getting adequate sleep. COVID-19 took an already bad situation and made it worse. Meanwhile, anti-social media does nothing to solve the problem and likely exacerbates it. And while lack of communal ties may be killing us at the micro level, but on the macro level, this phenomenon has contributed to numerous societal ills, including the rise of sycophantism that's for Trump. In the 2016 Republican primary, for example, it was well documented that Trump performed better in places where people were socially atomized. For example, Republicans who attended church regularly were less likely to support Trump anyway. This, of course, all fell apart once he became the nominee. If you doubt loneliness and lack of healthy communal ties is perhaps the dominant problem of our era, Michael Bender's new book, Frankly We Did Win This Election, which they didn't, sheds light on the subculture of Donald Trump sycophants who followed his Klan rallies like they were on tour with the Grateful Dead. Instead of tie-dyed shirts, they donned red maggot hats. Instead of being young adventurers running away from their parents, these front row Joes, as he called them, tended to be people who were like inbred, 70, 80 years old or close to it, and estranged from their families or otherwise without children. But they also had plenty of time on their hands. And what they found was that Trump had, in a surprising way, made their lives richer. Yeah, bullshit. His Klan rallies gave them a reason to travel the country, staying at one another's homes, sharing hotel rooms, and carpooling. Two of the Trump supporters had married. More than likely, they were related in some way or another, and they divorced by Trump's second year in office. Every silver lining's got a has got a touch of gray. It's likely that some of the people who were found meaning purpose, basically friends and community at Trump's Klan rallies in 2016, will be charged for incidents related to the riot at the Capitol on January 6. Others, as Bender documents, have already died from COVID-19 for refusing to take the shot. The community that sprang up around Trump's Klan rallies was seductive and intoxicating. The attendant friends, activity, music, Trump's Klan rallies had a concert-like feel, not really. T-shirts with pathetic jokes and circus-like excitement all contributed to the delusion they were part of a large and important subculture. Trump's status as both a rock star and simultaneously a persecuted victim made him a pathetic leader for this kind of movement. These Trump sycophants drink the Kool-Aid. They believed what their dear leader said about coronavirus; it will disappear, and about the big lie. Frankly, we did win this election, which he didn't, and some paid a steep price for overdosing on Trumpism. So why did Trump, via his Klan rallies and the force of his personality, engender this kind of cult-like mentality that has thankfully eluded most American politicians? Human beings, especially those who feel marginalized, want to belong to something, and as our geographic communities atomize and religious service attendance dwindles, this emotional void is even more pronounced and ripe for exploitation. If you are surrounded by friends or family and are otherwise well-adjusted, this probably won't resonate. But if you are lonely and marginalized, or think you are, like so many of today's maggot sycophants, it will resonate there. But there's a reason vulnerable people are drawn to street gangs. There's a reason Charles Manson preyed upon teenage runaways. And there's a reason why so many poor black women died in Jonestown. And when you are down and out and lonely, you cling to the people who care enough to give you hope. And this help explains why friends and family who want to stage an intervention, who try to turn off Foe or OAN or Newsmax, which are fake news sites, are so impotent. This explains why media outlets that try to fact-check Trump's claims are really just wasting their fucking time. At least when it comes to the fucking cult. As the conservative writer David French fucking puts it, you can't fact-check, plate, or argue a person out of a conspiracy because you're trying to fact-check, plate, and argue them out of their fucking pathetic community. The saying goes, there's an old saying, and there's a couple of them, I'm going to say them both here. The old saying is, it is difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends on his not understanding of it. And it suggests that materialism drives us. And also, here's the other saying, it's even harder to get a man to understand something when his community and identity depends on his not understanding of it. It would be a mistake to think that this phenomenon applies to only people who attend numerous Trump Klan rallies. And while I have no doubt that this is most acute, this that this is most acute among the front row Joes, where the more casual fans who weren't on the Klan rally circuit are to a lesser extent part of a Trump larger community, deriving daily purpose, identity, and entertainment by following him virtually around like lost people. It's ironic that his sycophantic fan base, with its unprecedented pathetic loyalty, wasn't enough to put Trump over the top in 2020, but in fact his obsession with crowd size warped his perception, along with that of his sycophantic inbreds. If you take Trump at his word, one of the major reasons he refused to believe that Joe Biden won the election was that Biden couldn't draw flies. But Trump's failure the only reason why Biden won is because a lot of people didn't attend his rallies. Why? Because of the COVID thing going on, so they voted basically in person and on ballot. But Trump was so focused on fan service that he never bothered to try and grow his base into a majority coalition, a jam band that can thrive on a loyal and ecstatic cult following of dedicated fans buying their tickets and records, and diddle almost any business in America. This is why movie studios keep churning out franchise comic book films and vapid sequels. Politics, however, isn't one of them. This is a lesson that Trump, the failed businessman who never held elected office before 2017, still hasn't fucking learned yet. Maybe it's only coincidence is that the Grateful Dead only scored one top 10 hit in 3 decades. But make no fucking mistake. What Trump did was pathetic, and it should serve as a warning for us to address these societal problems before a more competent demagogue comes along and fully leverages this opportunity. And Trump grew a cult following by casting himself as an outsider like you, and saying that those in power were trying to take him down like you. He became their pathetic fighter and not savior. And these maggot fans pilgrimaged to this concert like Klan rallies. He created a nationwide fandom that is unprecedented in American history. But what a long fucking trip it's been. The best way to combat this phenomenon is for us to begin healing what is broken in our fucking society. But people who find purpose and meaning in their religious faith and connection with family, hobbies, watching foe does not fucking count, and their vocation are less susceptible to finding meaning and community in a cult of personality. And we have to find a way to get people connected into productive and positive institutions and communities. Now, if mainstream media can't offer romance, adventure, community, and purpose, something else will rush to fill in that fucking void, and that something is usually less salutary or salutary, whatever. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RVW King, and also hit the notification bell so that you've been notified when a new video comes out. And thanks for listening.